Hey friends, hi. So in these last several videos, these last few days, we've been talking about what we might be eating on Thanksgiving Day, which is coming up soon. And we've talked about turkey, and we've talked about corn. For some of you, though, green bean casserole, I understand. Let's talk desserts. Well, no, let's say, are any of you having pizza? Not? No pizza. Okay. Why am I wearing a pizza hat today? Because I'm thinking of pizza pie. Pizza pie, pumpkin pie. There it comes. That is the usual dessert that many of you may be celebrating for Thanksgiving. And guess what? I have a piece of pumpkin pie here today that I have just here on my little plastic platter, just so I don't spill it. But it is a good looking piece of pumpkin pie, and I do enjoy a good pumpkin pie. Did you know that at the first Thanksgiving feast, which was held in 1621, many years ago, the Pilgrims did not have pumpkin pie? That's right, they didn't have pumpkin pie at that time. Even though we eat it today during Thanksgiving, it wasn't something that was served at that original Thanksgiving feast in 1621. In fact, the Pilgrims probably wouldn't have even had butter or flour for making a pie crust, let alone an oven for baking a pie. Rather, they may have eaten stewed pumpkin or cooked pumpkin. And they would have known about pumpkins because they learned about pumpkins from their Native American friends, the Indians. Because in the New World, pumpkins and winter squash were plentiful. They were, again, easily grown and they were around, and they were used for many different food items, just not pumpkin pie. We often associate carved pumpkins with Halloween. However, the carved pumpkin was first associated with the harvest season, not Halloween, but rather the celebration of the fall harvest or even Thanksgiving. So, even though the first pilgrims didn't have pumpkin pie, it soon became a tradition as pumpkin pie was popularized and people learned how to make pumpkin pie. In fact, I found this really interesting story. In the year 1705, the town of Colchester, Connecticut, often had a Thanksgiving feast. But in this particular year, they had to postpone their feast for a week because they found out they didn't have enough ingredients, especially molasses, available to make a pumpkin pie. And so they waited to eat until they could have pumpkin pie. Well, interestingly enough, today, here in North America, in the United States, we rarely buy whole pumpkins to eat. Most often, we're buying pumpkins to carve for jack-o'-lanterns at Halloween or for fall decorations, sitting them outside of our houses, on our porches, making those wonderful looking decorations. Very rarely do we use pumpkin outside of making pumpkin pies to eat. In other parts of the world, pumpkins are used year round for their cooking and for their seeds, and other healthy uses. But here in the United States, we sort of tend to just use pumpkins in the fall. And you may know or have heard of a thing called pumpkin spice. Yeah, it's a trend. In 2003, 17 years ago, Starbucks, some of you know Starbucks, you love Starbucks, they turned this fall association with pumpkins into this marketing bonanza for them because they created pumpkin spice latte. Well, this led to a notable trend in pumpkin and spice flavored products in the United States. And so now, during this time of the year, you can find all kinds of pumpkin spice things. Well, enough about pumpkins. We like pumpkin pie, and we know that to finish a meal, it's always good to have a sweet dessert, right? It's a habit that we've developed to have something sweet at the end of a meal. There's some pleasure in eating sweet things, isn't there? And there's nothing wrong with it. You know the Bible talks about sweet things? Yes, it does. Proverbs 24:13 says, "Eat honey, my son, because it is good. Honey from a honeycomb has a sweet taste." Ecclesiastes 5:18, the writer says, "I have seen what is good. It is good for a person to eat and drink. It is good for them to be satisfied with their hard work on this earth." That's what they should do during the short life God has given them. That's what God made them for. That's right. While we live life, we want to be sure to experience some of the good things that God has given to us. 1 Timothy 6, verse 6 and 8 says, "You gain a lot when you live a godly life, but you must be happy with what you have. We didn't bring anything into the world, and we can't take anything out of it. If we have food and clothing, we will be happy with that. Let's celebrate this Thanksgiving the basic things that God gives us: breath for life, food, and clothing. God provides us with so many wonderful things, and I am glad that as a part of that food chain, He provides us with pumpkin pie and some other sweet things that we can eat for dessert. So I'm going to have a bite of this pumpkin pie. You should be using a fork, but this is stiff enough that I could eat it like a piece of pizza. Pumpkin pie, good. Oh, come on Thanksgiving, bring on that pumpkin pie. Hey, you have a good day, a day filled with joy, and a day filled with peace, and maybe a slice of pumpkin pie.